Today, we're talking Bo Nix. Bo Nix is a rookie quarterback heading into 2024 with the Denver Broncos. Nix ended up as my quarterback 2 in last year's draft, just behind Caleb Williams. I know, call me crazy, I've heard it enough, and it's definitely not a popular opinion. Even in the NFL, Nix wasn't seen as a top 3 quarterback like I had him, let alone a top 5 quarterback in this class. Bo was the 6th quarterback off the board when he was drafted 12th overall to the Denver Broncos. But consensus on Bo Nix wasn't even close to the way I viewed him. I simply didn't understand why. But the further we got into the draft process, I would hear more and more that Bo is just a point guard or only throws screens and slants. And I find it so dumb that people were actually punishing Bo Nix for doing what he was coached to do to near perfection. And it's hard to say Nix wasn't executing at a very high level in 2023, having just 3 interceptions to 51 total touchdowns and 4,742 total yards. Nix put those numbers up while achieving an NCAA completion percentage record, completing 77.4% of his 470 pass attempts in 2023. Bo's currently in a quarterback competition with NFL veteran Jarrett Stidham, competing for the starting job in Denver. And with everything I've heard within the organization and some of the things Bo's new teammates are saying,
what are the characteristics of a pass that Bo Nix throws?
Characteristics of a pass that he throws. Electric.
I'd be floored if Nix isn't the guy walking out to start week 1 for the Denver Broncos. Sean Payton's been generally quiet about the whole quarterback competition throughout training camp, but Payton does give little bits here and there of his thoughts on the quarterback battle.
What do you think of Bo's patience in high pressure situations?
I like it. I'm for it. I think it's a trait that when we watched, you see pretty good pocket sense. Doesn't take a lot of sacks. I think he knows when the play's over, time to go. And then I think he can make plays when he's going. I used to say this all the time, that the sack numbers are a reflection more on the quarterback than the offensive line. You know, Breeze was one of those guys, he was a tough sack, ball came out, and I think Bo has traits like that.
And now we'll take a look at some of the qualities that make Bo Nix the front runner for that Broncos starting job and what made him my quarterback 2 in last year's deep quarterback class. We'll start by taking a look at his best traits and abilities as a quarterback. 1 being his overall ability inside and out of the pocket, 2 being his total accuracy, ball placement, and consistency doing so. Bo's feel of the pocket and the way he moves away from pressure just looks so natural. Of course, he has his experience working in his favor in that department, but no other quarterback in this 2024 class was as comfortable, poised, and clean in the pocket as Bo Nix was in 2023. Bo Nix was only sacked 5 times in 2023 and only got sacked twice through the final 11 games of the season. Those stats are not a product of the system. Nix is just different in the pocket compared to most college quarterbacks, 61 starts or not. Even standing in the pocket with rushers breathing down his neck, Nix has shown enough times that he's capable of throwing from a broken or closed pocket with guys in his face. And what's so good about Nix is the fact he knows where his outlets are when he's under duress, and the fact he always has a solution. Bo's ability to escape and show up in off-script situations nearly matches the level he plays inside the pocket. When pressure closes in, Bo could get mobile and make his way outside, get to some space, and show that he's capable of throwing on the run with touch and accuracy despite being on the move. And now I think we'll take a look at what I think could be the best play in college football through all of last year. Motion to the left, the edge rushers get a good push up field, creating a lane for Bo. He then pump fakes and gets a D lineman to play tall. Then Bo slips under this guy, and with pressure in his face, off platform, whips it to his receiver along the sideline. A truly unbelievable play that if Mahomes ever did something like this, ESPN wouldn't shut their mouth about it for years. And the more work Bo Nix had around the line of scrimmage, the better he's gotten at throwing some of the short and quick passes. May seem real easy and looks like a very simple concept. You're just throwing the ball in short distance and it's good as long as it hits your playmakers somewhere. No, it's a whole lot more complicated than that. You need to carry and guide your playmakers with the throw. You're trying to position your receivers and set them up the best you can with precise accuracy and certain placement with the throw. Nobody in this quarterback class threw the ball around the line of scrimmage as well as Nix. Again, it may not seem like a real asset or anything special, but it's one hell of a skill that Nix brings to the table. Nix can guide and place the ball to either shoulder and place the ball wherever it's needed. If the recipient is on a little screen and needs to work upfield, that's when Bo would throw the receiver upfield and place the ball on the correct shoulder. That way he doesn't break momentum or stride of the receiver. And that allows the playmaker to go make plays with a head start instead of breaking stride or having to regather himself while defenders close in on him. Some of these things are pretty discreet and maybe not so noticeable. That leads some people to believe it's not even intentional and that the quarterback's just throwing in that direction. But I can assure you that most of it is very intentional. Bo Nix consistently places the ball extremely well and just has a great feel for when he needs velocity behind the ball, or maybe needs to ease up and use a little more touch and put some air under it. Especially when looking at some of the plays where Nix throws into windows or gaps in a defense. He has some nutty throws where he processes very quickly and just fits the ball into gaps, or even over defenders with great accuracy and placement. You can watch one Bo Nix drive on tape, and the thing that would probably stand out the most would be the consistency in which Nix throws the ball. Everything's intentional. He makes window throws routinely and continuously places the ball away, over, and in between defenders. And we'll pop back to the first point I brought up and take a look at a play where Nix was great throwing at the line of scrimmage. Here, you've got a design screen to the right side. Looking at that defense, you've got a guy from the middle coming down. Meanwhile, there's all this space to the outside with blockers there as well. So Nix directs his receiver with his throw into space towards that outside where his playmaker can make the most of that rep. Whether this is something he saw pre-snap or post-snap is a question, but I'd assume pre-snap, and gave his receiver the best shot. We just went over two very strong suits of Bo's game, but there's still so much more to note. Bo's been at it for so long in reference to college starts, so it's no surprise that he can scope out and find the weakness in defenses pre and post snap. Bo had great command of that Dan Lanning Oregon offense and had a lot of pre-snap communication, whether it's switching protections or getting the offense into the right call, or even checking to a better play after seeing something from the defense. But post snap, Bo shows great recognition, specifically diagnosing the leverage that he's seeing from linebackers or defensive backs. You can see what he's looking at sometimes, and when he likes the leverage or the body language of a defender, he won't hesitate to let it go to his receiver as early as he can to get it there quickly while the defender's out of place or is pointed in the wrong way. Nix has got some underrated arm talent. I see it so clearly, but mostly when he's just whipping his arm and the ball's on a frozen rope. But other than that, he can really sling it and use arm angles as good as anyone in this quarterback class. In 2022, only 2 years ago, Bo Nix ran for 504 yards and totaled 14 touchdowns on the ground. This is a guy with some real athleticism, and I think Jonas Griffith would agree with me.
From a linebacker's perspective, what kind of stress does Bo Nix put on defense out there?
A lot. I didn't realize how fast he was. It's kind of crazy because he had a scramble and he was running, I think it was a few days ago. I was like, whoa, he's kind of fast. And I consider myself a fast guy.
Overall, though, Nix has some wheels on him to make defenses account for his ability on the ground while he's extending plays, or even if Nix needs to make a play and there's nothing materializing between his receivers. Through the draft process, people were questioning the deep ball, but I'm personally not worried. This kid can sling it. I just talked about the arm talent, and he uses that arm with his accuracy to launch passes downfield with plenty of air under him. The more he stretches the field in the league, the more comfortable, confident, and better he'll be at finding his receivers downfield to make some of those big plays. The mental traits are also a massive selling point for Nix. This kid's more mature than most QBs coming out of college, and he's really been through it all. You want to talk about mental toughness? Nix was a legacy to a great Auburn quarterback, his dad, Patrick Nix, and Bo had plenty of struggles, had so much pressure on him, and experienced plenty of hate as a young man at Auburn from inside and out of that fan base. Nix ended up transferring to Oregon, then persevered through everything he had already gone through, blocked out all of that noise, and went on to become the 12th overall pick in the 2024 NFL draft, and continues to be an underdog, but I don't expect that to be a problem for him. Bo also has an advanced football mind. I don't think he's a Brock Purdy or anything, but Sean Payton and that staff seem so impressed and surprised with how much Nix was able to pick up on before they even drafted him. Nix is also a great competitor and has a tremendous hunger and want for the game of football, and you just don't see this type of player often. Bo Nix is someone I can easily see playing at a high level in the NFL. Now, there may be some kinks and issues along the way here in his rookie year between learning the playbook and just getting up to speed with the rest of the NFL, but I'm fairly confident that Bo Nix will last in this league just based off of everything I've seen on tape and the things I've heard about Nix. This guy just seems tailor-made for the role of an NFL quarterback. I'm super excited and maybe a little nervous to see how Bo's rookie year turns out. I put a lot of eggs in the Bo Nix basket, and I'll be following he and the Broncos closely throughout this first year as a duo, and I'll continue watching and rooting Bo Nix on for the rest of his career. Anyways, that'll do it for me. Thank you for watching. If you guys enjoyed, go ahead and like it and subscribe. Go watch the past content on the channel. It would mean a lot, and I'll see you guys next time. Deuces.